All right, so the cell and inheritance. So done these before. Go ahead and put the date on it. Today is 4/9. All right. As a good rule of thumb, I usually read over what the questions are asking before I start actually doing the assignment, just so I kind of know. So I'm going to be looking for list 5 keywords from the text, describe 4 facts related to the main topic, which in this case is the cell and inheritance, list 3 new words. So maybe you've seen them once on the vocab list or something else. Describe 2 facts you already know. So maybe as you're reading this, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that, or I already knew that. And then write 1 question you still have. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So just keep those things in mind as we go through this. So the first thing, half of my physical traits, so statement number 1, half my physical traits are from my mother, and half from my father. The key in this case is the word physical. Half of my physical traits come from my mother, and half are from my father. And hopefully you remember from meiosis that it is half and half, but half of your physical traits. So what you look like, half comes from mom, half comes from dad. Maybe you'll put agree, maybe you'll put disagree. It just depends on what you think. So half of my physical traits are from my mother, and half are from my father. I'm just going to put, you know what, I think so, ... Meiosis gets half DNA from mom and half from dad. So maybe half of my physical traits, but does half of me really look like my mom, half really look like my dad? I'm not too sure. Statement number 2, parents with straight black hair will have a child with straight black hair. Parents with straight black hair will have a child with straight black hair. Sure, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know why on earth they would have anything else, right? I mean, if the parents have it, the kiddos have it. So if the parents have it, now your answer can be something else, but if the parents have it, ... the kids do. Now, you might be thinking, Miss Penny, that's completely wrong. Your answers can be different from mine. That's completely fine. So that's what I'm going to put for that. So now let's read. All right. I think this is how I want it. Yeah. So as you read, consider these questions. Why are chromosomes important for inheritance? What events occur during mitosis? Remember, there was the difference between mitosis and meiosis. If you have a highlighter, you can be using it. If not a big deal. But in the early 1900s, scientists were working to identify cell structures that carried Mendel's hereditary factors or genes. Anytime I see something bold, I will probably underline. In 1903, Walter Sutton observed that sex cells of grasshoppers have half the number of chromosomes as the body cells. So if they looked at the gametes, the sperm, the egg, they're going to say that it has half the chromosomes as the body cells. He also noticed that the grasshopper offspring had exactly the same number of chromosomes in its body cells as each of the parents. He reasoned that the chromosomes and body cells occur in pairs, with one chromosome coming in each pair coming from the mother or from the male, and the other coming from the female. That's a pretty important concept, so I'm going to put a star by that. And as I'm checking yours over for a grade, yours should kind of look something similar to mine. Now, if you don't have a highlighter, just underline the words. From his observations, Sutton concluded that genes are located on chromosomes. Okay, so genes. So what are genes? They're the hereditary factors. Okay, I got a pen on myself. Nice. He proposed the chromosome theory of inheritance. According to the chromosome theory of inheritance, genes are carried from parents to their offspring on chromosomes. That's a pretty important statement, so I'm just going to box that. Again, if you don't have different colors or whatnot, pretty important. Okay. I'm just going to ignore that part. Okay. I don't really care about that. Moving on. So organisms produce sex cells during meiosis. Meiosis is the process by which the number of chromosomes is reduced by half to form male and female sex cells, sperm, and eggs. Remember, mitosis produces body cells, with 46 chromosomes, while the meiosis produces sex cells with 23 chromosomes, right? During meiosis, the chromosome pairs are separated and distributed to form two different sex cells. Each sex cell only has one chromosome from each pair. When they combine to form a new organism, each sex cell contributes half of the number of chromosomes to produce offspring, the correct total number of chromosomes needed. I'm not worried about that. Okay. Punnett squares. This is something that's probably a new term. This is something we're going to be working with probably next week. They show the results of meiosis, and it's literally just a square. When a chromosomes pair separates, so do the genes located on the chromosomes. One piece of the gene, or the allele, now that was a vocab word, but you've probably never seen it before, so you might want to put that down here when we come back to list our 3 new words. Punnett squares show the possible separation of genes that the parents can pass to their offspring. Chromosomes are made up of many genes joined together, like beads on a string. Each chromosome contains a large number of genes, each containing a specific trait. So that's important. So each chromosome contains a large number of genes, each controlling a specific trait. So each chromosome contains a large number of genes, each controlling a specific trait. So eye color, hair color, skin color, Each chromosome pair has the same genes. The genes are lined up in the same order from one end to the other. When parental genes match up, they can be the same, making the organism homozygous. Okay. Another new word, homozygous. Right? And those are going to be important words that you will be, homozygous and heterozygous, are what you're going to need to understand to do the Punnett squares, or some for some traits. If the genes match up and are different, they make the organism heterozygous. Now, I'm just going to put a little side note here. Hetero means different. Something that is heterozygous is different. Something that is homo means same. Okay, so homogeneous, heterogeneous, homo just always means same. Okay, so homo always means same. That it's the root word that you're going to start off with. Hetero always means different. Yeah, and that's what you're going to say. So an example, I'm just going to go, because looking at my answer key, I do have a lot of things on here. But an example of homo could be, let's just pick an easy letter to do, G. Could be big G, or little g, little g. And once we start doing Punnett squares, we're going to be like, I have no idea what we're talking about. That's completely okay. I just want to introduce you to it. Hetero, the only possible if we're using the same exact letters, because you always have to use the same exact letters from doing Punnett square, would be big G, little g. Okay? Maybe you think of Miss Penny, I have no idea what you're talking about, and that is okay. Most of the time, I don't know what I'm talking about either. Just kidding. Oh, it's early in the morning. But that's the only options. And whenever you write out a heterogeneous organism, when you're writing the alleles or whatnot, you always start with the capital letter. So list 5 new words, or keywords, list 5 keywords from the text. A lot of stuff was underlined, so I am going to put, let's see, genes. I'm going to put meiosis. And if yours differ a little bit from mine, that's fine. But I'm looking a lot of what is capitalized or what was bolded. Let's see, allele. Chromosomes. Is it it doesn't matter. Chromosomes, one's just plural. And the last one, I don't know, what should we put? Let's put offspring. Actually, I'm going to pause this so I can have some oatmeal. All right. Describe 4 facts related to the main topic. Let's see. And yours can vary from mine. That's perfectly fine. But describe 4 facts related to the main topic. I'm going to say that chromosomes occur in pairs. So remember those little safety scissor looking things? Okay, they occur in pairs. Each half, remember, is called a sister chromatid. Let's see. Punnett square. Let's see. Genes are located on chromosomes. Oops, of course. Genes are located on chromosomes. Let's do a third fact. Punnett squares. Punnett squares show meiosis results. So Punnett squares show the meiosis results. I'm just going to add a little box down here so I can write number 4. Okay. Let's see what I want to put for number 4. 1 chromosome comes from each parent. From each parent. All right. So 1 chromosome comes from each parent. That's a T, not an F. All right. List 3 new words. And again, these words might be different from yours to mine, but some of your new words should have been homozygous, heterozygous, and allele. Okay. So homozygous meaning same, heterozygous meaning different, and then allele. Describe 2 facts you already know. Again, yours might be a little bit different than mine, but 2 facts you should already know. Meiosis makes, I love my arrows, makes sex cells. Okay. And then I already knew that genes are found on chromosomes. And so meiosis, sex cells, meiosis produces sex cells, and genes are found on chromosomes. One question I still have, what does a Punnett square look like? If I don't have any clue what a Punnett square is, that's a pretty good question. What does a Punnett square look like? You might be thinking, Miss Penny, I could care less. You will be caring because you're going to be doing these next week. Okay. So what does a Punnett square look like? And again, yours can look different than mine. So back to the after readings. So we look back at this. Half of my physical traits come from my mother, half are from my father. Yours might differ a little bit. I'm going to put disagree. I think physical traits can, I don't know, occur randomly. And maybe that's still, you're like, physical traits, I know that half my genes come from mom, half my genes come from dad, but I don't exactly, there's a lot of traits that I see that I resemble more like my mom than I do my dad. So I need more information about this. As parents with straight black hair will have a child with straight black hair. I mean, I'm thinking, based on my own experiences, maybe you know somebody who's got multiple children. My aunt and uncle have 4 daughters. 3 of them look pretty much all the same. Straight brown hair, dark brown eyes. But they look just like their mom. The third kid, she has curly blonde hair and blue eyes, and she looks more like her dad. So it's kind of weird, like, wait a minute here, how do 3 out of 4 look the same, but that one is curly blonde hair and blue eyes? It's kind of crazy. So I would say disagree just because of my own experiences. I would say there is a good chance of straight black hair, but it's not 100%. That is the only thing that can happen of straight black hair. Just because it doesn't matter how many generations of people you have with brown eyes, there's actually a 2% chance that you could have green eyes. So it's all about genetics. We're going to talk more about that another time. There you go. Ta-da!